Good morning. This is Pastor Marvin Osborne with First Baptist Church of Birmingham, Ohio. Started thinking about this. Of course, I've been thinking about the government paying people to stay home, and certainly we're thankful that we have a benevolent nation, that we care for those who are unable to care for themselves. It's the old saying, we try not to give handouts, but we try to give hand ups. We try to help those that are down, help them to get back on their feet. And I don't believe the welfare system was ever meant to be a lifestyle. And yet, I think our government is trying to make us dependent on them, and thus enslaving a whole generation of people because they refuse to work. They've been receiving checks, stimulus type checks in the mail for staying home, on top of unemployment. And this is scary times when businesses can't find people to work because we've gotten used to the government handing out money. And that shouldn't be for the believer. The believer should be industrious. The believer should be working and providing for themselves. And it's important that you and I understand that work is a gift. You know what? Adam was given a job to do before the fall. You understand that? He was in the garden, and God gave them the task of naming all the animals, and it couldn't have been an easy task. There's so many animals out there, but it was his job to name all the animals, and that came before the fall. If you've ever been out of work for any length of time, especially if you've been working like I have since a teenager, when you're out of work, that's not a good thing. That doesn't mean that you don't retire. It doesn't mean you don't travel. It doesn't mean this. It's just, when you're capable of working and in order to provide for your family, for a godly man or a godly woman, you want to make sure you're doing what you can to contribute to the health of your home, and and not relying on the government to help you and to provide. And again, I thank God we have a benevolent nation, and I think it's great that our country does provide for those who are incapable. But the problem is we've gotten to a nation that is capable. Most are capable and refuse to work. It says here in Proverbs 15:19, it says, "The way of the slothful man is as an hedge of thorns, but the way of the righteous is made plain." The way of the slothful man is a hedge of thorns. It's painful. The person who refuses to work, person who chooses to beg and to live off the government's dole rather than going out and get a job. Again, it's those who are capable of getting a job and refusing to do so. That's what he's talking about. These are slothful people. We're not talking about people who are sick. We're not talking about those who are infirmed. Not to people that are seniors. They put in their time. They've retired. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people who are capable of being in the workforce and refuse to do so. At that point, as the New Testament says, if a man refuses to work, he at that point he refuses to eat, and he refuses to get a handout, because sometimes a hungry stomach is motivation to go out and get a job, right? And unfortunately, the children and maybe the rest of the family are unfortunate byproducts of someone's refusal to work, and that's a sad thing. And so we're at a point in our country where every able-bodied person who could have a job, should have a job, because we have so many openings out there. And if that's you, let me encourage you. Yeah, I remember talking to one of our children, and when the government started with the $300 additional to their unemployment, and my young son says he looks at his paycheck and he looks at what he could get in unemployment and what he could get with that extra stimulus, and he says, "Dad, I think I'm going to." And I said, "No, you're not." I didn't even let him get it out of his mouth. No, no, no. You're going to work. Osborne's work. You're going to work, and you're not going on unemployment. You're going to work, and he did, to his credit, and he continued to do so. And but that easy money, there's always a hook with Satan's bait, and you take it and you get used to it, and then you get used to not working, and then you become a slave to the government. Let that not be so. Let that not be said of you. If you're capable of working, get out there and find a job. You say, "Well, I can't find one in my area, in my qualifications." Find something. It helps you. It helps your self-esteem. It gives you motivation. As a friend of mine once said, people were saying, "Well, you can't make a living wage off of working at McDonald's or Burger King and everything else." And this college professor said, "You know what?" He said it was never meant to be a living wage. It was meant to be a stepping stone and motivate you to continue to step up and move on. And so maybe we need to start at the bottom and move our way up. I know I've done that many times, and probably you have as well. This is Pastor Marvin Osborne saying, God loves you, and I love you as well. And I'll talk to you soon.